Time to hand out the 27th annual Smith Cup here on the Charles River. Northeastern and Harvard Varsity 8 going head-to-head. Smith Cup has been dominated by the Crimson. They lead the series 24-3. Harvard has won the last 18 Smith Cups, and overall all-time against Northeastern, Harvard is 33-3 with Dave Bresky. I'm Bill Spalding. Dave, I think you're still soaking in the 2v, 3v Harvard win, dominating the Northeastern JV as the Crimson went 1-2.
Yeah, they chokeslammed him in the first 500 and never looked back. It was awesome. I didn't realize it's 18 straight. 18 straight, yeah. That's a big record. The Northeastern crew's fast this year, so this will be a tight race. That's a big streak to have on the line.
Harvard's ranked 5th at 6-1 on the season. Northeastern is ranked 9th in the country. They're only 1-2, but their 2 losses have been close. They beat Penn, just like Harvard did last week. Their 2 losses to BU and Brown by 1.3 seconds and 1.8 seconds. So only a few seats in each of those head-to-heads. That tells you this is a game Northeastern squad.
Yeah, and it sounds like they've been snake-bitten a couple times in some of these races, put in good efforts, and hasn't gone their way. So, you know, as we saw with the fast start from the JV and Harvard, you'd probably expect to see something very aggressive with these Northeastern guys looking to set a tone early against Harvard.
Let's run you through the rosters. For Harvard, the 1V looks pretty similar to how it has most of this season. Cole Durbin, sophomore coxswain, sophomore Jack Kelly in the stroke, senior James Croxford in seat 7, sophomore Connor Harity in seat 6, junior Ross Jarvis is in seat 5, James Johnston, a junior, in seat 4, sophomore Alexander Richards in seat 3. This is his second week with the Varsity 8, sophomore Sam Hardy in seat 2, and freshman Arthur Doyle is the bow for Harvard. Meanwhile, for Northeastern, the Husky lineup looks like this. Coxswain Alexander Gass is a sophomore. Junior Ole Henrik Bang Andresen is the stroke in seat 8. Seat 7 is freshman Phoenix Susak. Seat 6, junior Trevor Appier. Seat 5 is sophomore Jacob Plyhall. Sophomore Matai Metkovich in seat number 4. Seat 3, freshman Peter Arata. Seat 2, Australian sophomore Texas Lawton, who rolled with the Aussie junior national team. And then the bow is freshman Aaron Goodman for the Huskies.
So we've got alignment. And just want to note that Harvard changed up their stroke. Harity moved to 6.
Yep, Harity to 6, and Jack Kelly, a sophomore in the stroke. It's the same 8 as last week, but in a little bit of a different order.
Yeah, and we're off here. I got Harvard at a 48, now 46.
Harvard and Northeastern neck and neck at the start, racing for the Smith Cup. Harvard trying to end its regular season at 7-1. Harvard's JV just ended its regular season at 8-0 on the year.
Yep. Got Northeastern here, still high at a 45. Harvard at a 44. Looks like they're settling now.
Middle 1,000 will be especially important today. Harvard had a great first 1,500 last week against Penn, but allowed Penn to close the gap a bit in the final 500 last week. And that was something, Dave, you were talking about, that the coaches, the team, they know that finish wasn't exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah, no, it's exactly right, Bill. And, you know, you're going to look to want to see a full effort here. And that's what you're going to have to give to win at sprints. So anything less, you know, it's not a good result. And it looks like racing has stayed relatively tight. I'd say that Harvard has a seat or 2, but it remains really tight right now through this first 500, coming through at roughly a 120, which is pretty quick for a headwind.
Yep. Minute and 20 seconds through that first 500 meters, and Harvard with still about a 1-seat, maybe now a 2-seat lead over Northeastern in a battle for the 28th annual Smith Cup. Again, Harvard has won 24 of the first 27 and 18 in a row.
Yeah, looks like 3 seats now. Harvard's settled into a good groove. They're rowing long and smooth.
Senior captain James Croxford in his final race on the Charles. The Australian native has been a workhorse for the Crimson during his career. And again, one last go-round here on this river basin.
Yep, Harvard, I think, understroking the Huskies by a beat or 2. I've got them at 37.
Northeastern sticking in, but that means there's a little more room for Harvard to go up if they have to.
Yeah, and Harvard's base speed right now, they're really, really flashing the leather. This is good. Up 4 seats, maybe 5 now. This base speed, which I know is always a focus for Harvard crews, is really, really showing up right now.
Harvard at 2:30 and counting, closing in on the 1,000-meter mark into a headwind, but still good conditions on the Charles today.
Yep. Harvard at a 36 right now. So settled into a nice, probably lower than they would like rhythm, but putting a hurt on the Huskies, which is good.
5-seat lead at the 1,000. You get the feeling maybe another move is coming here?
Yeah, I'd call it 6 now, and they'd love to break it open. Coming through this bridge, it's going to get a little windy. Maybe this Huskies crew starts to not believe, and then you just squash their dreams.
6-seat lead for Harvard underneath the bridge. Do they have that finishing put-away here in this middle 1,000?
Yeah, Harvard crew's rowing very patiently. Really nice looking.
Northeastern needs to make something happen pretty quickly here, else they'll start to run out of real estate as well.
Yeah, looks like Northeastern has just taken a move.
Yep, they've gained 1 seat back already. Huskies have been close in 2 previous races, losses to BU and to Brown by less than 2 seconds.
And we know the Harvard-Brown race was tight, so we should expect to see these Huskies really push in at the last 500, try to make something happen.
Northeastern ranked 9th in the country. Harvard ranked 5th. Next race for the Crimson is the Sprints out in Worcester in 2 weeks. So looking to go out with a win and a 7-1 regular season dual record. 4 minutes off the clock, and Harvard still sitting at a 5 to 6 seat lead.
Yep, I've got Harvard at a 37 now.
Starting to get the feel, though, of that first race we had today where Northeastern locked in its deficit, and then remember, they had a strong final 500.
Yeah, they have stuck around. They have not let Harvard break open.
So this has the Crimson in a similar situation to last week, and now a chance to really throw the hammer down and finish strong.
Although it looks like our guys just took a move, and they definitely have 8 seats,
Yep.
and they're going for open.
Yeah, Harvard gaining ground with its move with 500 meters to go. 8-seat lead. Cole Durbin, the coxswain, still counting hard as Harvard's into some heavy strokes here in the final 500.
And we went through the 1,500 around 4:30 for the Harvard crew.
So right about a 6-minute pace into a swift headwind today.
Harvard crew is staying long and smooth.
8-seat lead for Harvard. Northeastern again is locked in the deficit, but they're running out of real estate to gain ground back.
Yeah, Harvard's staying pretty low. I got them at 36 still. And I got Northeastern at 38. Looks like they just went up again to try to make something happen.
Gotten 1 seat back already as well in their move.
Yeah, and you can see that bow seat at Northeastern staring over, hoping the margin gets a little tighter.
Huskies gaining ground now. 2 seats back. They're within 6 seats inside the final 150 meters. Harvard have enough to hold off as Northeastern's running out of real estate.
Yeah, Harvard is staying long.
Northeastern back to within 5 seats, only a few more strokes to go. Huskies with another strong finishing flurry, but it looks like Harvard's built itself a steady enough lead through the middle 1,000, and the Crimson head to the finishing line as winners of the Smith Cup for another year. It is a 19th consecutive Smith Cup for Harvard. They win it in 6:04.
Yeah, and I had Harvard go through the finish line there at around a 40, so they did step up for that last 100, but the Northeastern Huskies weren't able to really make much happen with their sprint there. So good to see that Harvard was able to stay long, just really heave on it, and just hustle the line and make it happen.
They pushed and pushed Northeastern in that final 500, but Harvard had the response they were looking for. The Crimson bring the Smith Cup back to the Boathouse for the 19th consecutive year. They weren't planning on freeing up any shelf space today. They wanted to keep that one locked right in at home. They've now beaten Northeastern 34 of 37 times.
Yeah, it's getting dusty.
All right, Dave, it's a 7-1 dual season for Harvard. All that's left, the sprints, the IRAs, and then, of course, the Yale-Harvard head-to-head at the end of the season.
It's Harvard-Yale.
Yes. From what you've seen at the last 3 weeks, these 3 Harvard races you've been to up close and personal, what do you think as you look ahead? What are you expecting from Harvard over this next month?
I think the guys look great, and I think that was probably one of their smoothest, cleanest races of the year, so good time to be peaking. Yep. But the Yale crew down in New Haven and the Princeton crew are strong guys. And, having seen the Wisco crew on the water this morning looking very good, it's gonna be feisty. It's gonna be tough.
Should be a lot of fun. And remember, that Harvard-Yale regatta will be live on the Ivy League Digital Network in June 12th. You can catch that one live on the Ivy League Digital Network. Well, Harvard takes the Smith Cup today. They go undefeated at home this year in their last 2 races. They did fall to Princeton early in the season. How about the JV boat, which finishes off the year undefeated in the regular season, heading into sprints as the #1 JV boat in the country. Fun day today. Harvard wins the Smith Cup for the 19th consecutive year. Harvard bests Northeastern in a battle on the Charles River. For Dave Presky, I'm Bill Spalding saying so long from the Charles. Harvard takes the Smith Cup, winning all 3 races today. To watch this broadcast again or to watch any other on-demand content, you can visit the Ivy League Digital Network at ivyleaguedigitalnetwork.com. This has been a presentation of the Ivy League Digital Network.